YouTube is by far the most popular video sharing platform in the world. Most of us associate YouTube with Google and the fact that Google has poured in billions to keep YouTube up and running. I do think Google deserves most of the credit for YouTube's success today. With that being said, Google did not actually found YouTube. They actually bought YouTube for $1.65 billion from three entrepreneurs in October of 2006. So how did these three guys end up finding YouTube? What have they been doing since the acquisition and how much are they worth today? They were the most iconic trio, Chad Hurley, Steve Chen, and Karim. The story of YouTube actually begins with another company, PayPal, where Hurley, Chen, and Karim were early employees on PayPal, and it was here that they met and came up with the idea of YouTube. The three of them would leave PayPal in the May of 2005, and the YouTube beta test site was launched. Within 6 months, the site was racking up 8 million views per day. YouTube has now established itself as the internet's leading video service, and as a result, larger companies were looking to buy YouTube and take it forward. In the end, it would be Google who would win the race, and in 2006, they purchased the site for $1.65 billion.
Hi YouTube, this is Chad and Steve. We're the co-founders of the site, and we just want to say thank you. Today we have some exciting news for you. We've been acquired by Google.
Yeah, thanks to every one of you guys that have been contributing to YouTube, the community. We wouldn't be anywhere close to where we are without the help of this community. Thanks a lot.
I've created a number of products that have been quite successful actually, and of course YouTube is probably the most well-known among those. And over the years, I've sort of specialized in the process of coming up with new concepts, developing them, marketing them, and also raising money for them. And so at YouTube, that's really what I wanted to focus on. That's sort of the stage in a startup that I'm most effective at and that I find most interesting.
However, Javed received the smallest share of the three founders when it came to the sale of YouTube. When Google bought YouTube, that amount was paid in Google stock. And of that total sum, Javed received around 1,037,000 Google shares. At that time, they were valued around $64 million. It was significantly smaller than the payouts that Steve Chen and Chad Hurley received. Well, the reason is that after YouTube got up and running, Javed left to go to Stanford University, where he pursued a master's degree in computer science. As a result, he never actually had a formal role at YouTube. Instead, he was an informal advisor who didn't actually take salary or benefits. But Javed actually contributed far more to the world than just YouTube. After leaving YouTube, he went to earn a master's degree from Stanford University. Following this, he found his own venture capital firm called Y Ventures. Now, Y Ventures went on to become one of the earliest investors in Airbnb, and they were also early investors in Reddit and Postmates. So Javed had a pretty significant impact on many of the services that we all use today. So while Karim and Steve Chen were the programmers and the coders, Chad Hurley's background was actually in design. And during his time in PayPal, he designed their original logo. But a real key moment came for him on Valentine's Day in 2005, where Chad would be the one to register the trademark and the domain of YouTube.com. He was then appointed as the CEO of YouTube, and his primary responsibility was the tagging and video sharing aspects of the site. When it came to the sale of YouTube, Chad Hurley would become the biggest earner, taking home a reported $345 million. He wouldn't actually leave YouTube immediately after the sale and stayed on as the company's CEO as 2010. When he eventually stepped down, he remained as an advisor. Chad Hurley's big venture after YouTube was an app called Mixbit, which he founded and launched in 2013. Many of his other investments and his current net worth is said to be valued at around $700 million. Then we have Steve Chen. Steve Chen could perhaps be considered the most important of the founders, simply based on the fact that all the company's early costs around the massive amounts of bandwidth they were using were all funded by several of his credit cards. It was him who secured the early funding for YouTube in 2005. When the company was sold to Google, Chen would receive around 625,000 Google shares, which at the time meant he took home roughly $326 million. At YouTube, his role was Chief Technology Officer. When it came to selling YouTube, Yahoo and Google were the frontrunners, but he wasn't seen going into either of the headquarters. He organized meetings privately, once with Yahoo and twice with Google. So it's quite incredible to think that a deal worth over $1 billion was discussed at a place. At some point, he moved back to his native Taiwan and currently lives there with his wife and 2 children. At the end of the day, Karim, Chad, and Steve all ended up working at some sort of incubator company. Ironically, all these 3 guys keep a pretty low profile online, preferring a life of peace and quiet. There are a lot of people out there who may not realize it, but they owe a lot to these guys for bringing YouTube to life. And when you think about it, they not only shaped the internet, but changed the world. They have literally impacted all of our lives, even to this very moment, if you are watching this video.